Welcome back to another reading from Principles of Pneumanosophy. Here at Pneumanosophy Academy, we believe in expanding consciousness and taking that pilgrimage into the imaginal. I'm Lewis, and if you'd like to be part of Pneumanosophy, then please do subscribe and click that bell. So without any preamble, I'll be getting straight into the chapter. Let's begin with Chapter 3 to Principles of Pneumanosophy. Silence. There is a path that leads to a divine realm. It's a path within ourselves that first passes through darkness, through the forest thicket, before we come to that place shining bright. Down this path I have ambled a little way. Not that I have any distinguishing quality. There's no unique gift in me that sets me apart, bar this, that I have trod that path, that I have wandered where most do not. As someone who has ventured forth and seen the imaginalis, I can tell you what I know. I can tell you how I came to perceive it, and perhaps even offer hope to my fellow pilgrims who cannot apprehend the language as yet, those of you who linger at the margins. You need no special talent, nothing beyond the yearning in your heart that has already taken you this far. Understand that there is no benevolent one above awaiting your petitions. You will not awaken one fine day to discover that your account is in credit. Of what I speak is not given, it is won. And no amount of fatted calves upon the altar of the Olympians will stir their hearts into yielding forth any such bounty. The hollow words of the temple cast rest upon the promises of riches beyond the grave, a promise necessary as they lack anything in the present that can be put to the test. There is a deception aloof. Did those ancients of old not speak of a living fire, a divinity that was obtainable in the here and now? Has the Promethean fire not already slipped from above? Does it not, at this very time, unfurl itself across the world? In the beginning, the spectre hung over the chaos, rehearsing in the darkest depths all that could be, and it came to pass. An orb whirled in a blackened void, and cracks broke across a cooling crust. The deific one beheld all. Jealously it guarded its dominion, wrapping power in binding covenant, railing against dry gods of silver and gold. The good, the righteous, the bad, and thy will on earth, as in all the cosmos, a might that makes all right. Yet from under that cloak of power, the spectre caught sight of those who were bound by the fetters of love, those helpless eyes of the subjugated. And in anguish and compassion, our God, convicted of the suffering wrought, threw itself out from heaven above, spilt spirit crashing down upon the earth, a fire pouring in every direction. Yet the fire of the gods is not spoken of. Words are being mobilized to serve a brutal illusion. An illusion that is upheld by a set of seemingly competing magisteriums that are all in truth serving the same end. The reductive physicalists that lower the mind, the imagination, to a mere byproduct of the body, diminishing what we are. The geologist's data arrayed in columns on the screen, holding up a perception of things as things, no more verifiable than that perceived, than that reality which burns within. A church so bent upon a false sense of personhood that it willingly leads us either into a paralyzing guilt, or worse yet, to an immaculate sense of the self, a sense that we can do no wrong, despite the fact that we do nothing at all, robbing us of our very longing to discover, to journey, rendering us motionless and inert. And there is none so dreadful as those brokers of this very illusion, states and oligarchs that move the pieces of deception, never for the sake of the good or truth or humanity, but for the sake of the illusion and the illusion alone. seeking as they do to mould us into a model of compliance. We require a power to front such evil, a power within ourselves that can oppose such mighty forces. And though I am afraid and weak, I have seen glimpses. I have seen the way to power, and I have sought to possess and secure that which I have discovered, these evanescent sparks within. I wish to call upon them at will to master this way, and in the end I was taught to do just that. I would, time after time, retreat into my seclusion, where none might interfere, in order that I might master my will. In silence, I began by fixating my gaze upon an object, and allowed its form alone to occupy the screen of my mind. This is no easy task, to cause everything else to fall away, bar this single thing before me, to maintain such an acute focus. Only a few minutes of this, at first, will wear us through. In this effort, we realize just how little of life has been our own, not having ideas or worries or hopes, but rather having been possessed by them. Without this awareness, we'd be carried all our days through the ocean of life upon currents not our own, carried along by those seemingly worthy or obligatory demands upon us, ever feeling the need to satisfy the baying scoffers who besiege us to recognize what is necessary. If we do not resist the tempting of these exterior and interior forces alike, and persevere on, we shall never know our own vitalized self that awaits us. This process brings everything within us to the surface. It brings us to the boil and uncovers angers and passions hitherto not known. In this awakening, in this battle, we grow real to ourselves. This sharpening of the will is a preliminary practice. It is not the end in itself, but merely a step along the way. Ultimately, when something greater than our own will is invoked from within, this process will enable us to recognize it. A process which also causes us to discern our own yearning, that call to venture in to the living infinite. In our silent meditation, we imagine ourselves into the great expanse. At first, we lurch fatigued through a terrible darkness, envisioning an endless nothing before us, as if we'd fallen headlong into a cavern, unable to see, hear, or imagine anything. But we create our own light. And as the months pass, we adjust to this new way of perceiving. The light within us begins to illuminate the trees. Everything therein is made luminous. In this, as we are lifted beyond the mundane, beyond this strafed world, our meditation becomes our breath, a silent state for which we thirst and long to return. Hurry with me to the place shining bright, that golden world. Hurry with me to the Imaginalis.